Okay, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I don't know where you are from, but where you are now and what time of the day it is. Just to greet you and to say happy good day. Today is the of the week, Wednesday. Great day to be alive. Today is an interesting day. Day is a World Emoji Day. It's a day to celebrate emojis and to remind us of what emojis are. I'm sure you know what is an emoji. For those people who have been around for a while, we didn't grow up knowing what were emojis. But then in the last couple of years, emojis started to show up in communications. You know, those tiny objects that we use to convey emotions, convey feelings. So there's a smiling emoji, there is a crying emoji, there is all of those kind of emojis. So today is the day that it is being celebrated. Now, let me tell you one fun fact. Do you know that if you want to type calendar on social media, it's going to show you an emoji, and that emoji is a July date. That day is today. So that's why that July date shows that today's date is the emoji for calendar to recognize that day. I mean, and so somebody will ask, so why am I bothered about the World Emoji Day? It's because emojis have become very important. Before we used to communicate with hieroglyphics. I was told in secondary school from one and from two about the history of the ancient world. I read that textbook, and they told us that the Egyptians taught us to write, and they were writing with signs. So we started with hieroglyphics, and then the Greek improved it, and we now have writing, Arabic writing, and all manner of writing that we currently have. So we improved from what looked like writing with signs to writing with words, and now we seem to be going back to writing with signs. We're using emojis. And for me, while it looks like development because emojis are fun, it also brings several complications from it. So I just want to talk very briefly, and I'm going to make it very brief. And why I'm doing this is just to remind, particularly people that are in my generation, about emojis. There's a data I shared on my Facebook page earlier today that talked about the various age groups and their response to emojis. So, for example, younger people use more emojis than older people. Actually, data shows that some older people don't even use emojis at all. So, when you're a parent, you send an SMS or a text message to your child, or when you are a boss and you have younger people in your workplace and you send them an emoji, a message, they may respond with an emoji. Now, you may not understand it, you may not like it, but it's part of the reality of the modern world that we older people need to adjust and to learn. At the same time, too, the younger people also need to understand that emojis are not the only way to communicate. I mean, why tell if you want to tell me yes, why don't you type why yes? Why are you showing me a thumb up sign? It's very important. And why is it very important? Because last year there was an interesting court case that was decided in Canada. It's a case that happened in Saskatchewan. Two people were into a conversation about the supply of materials for a supply of goods and services, and one of them called the other and they discussed. And then their discussion was that after I'm done, I am going to send to you a contract of based on our agreement because I've agreed on quantity and price based on our agreement, and then you will then use that and I'll send a contract to you by a text message on my phone. So the person did the contract, drafted the contract, signed it electronically from his head, and then snapped it on his phone and sent it to the other party in the supplier, and the supplier was received the text message and responded with a thumbs up emoji. You know the thumbs up emoji? So responded to the person with a thumbs up emoji and didn't do anything about it. So didn't supply it. And what then happened was that because he didn't supply it, that other person now sued him for non-performance, that they have a contract. And this person said, I don't have a contract with you. But he said, well, you know what? I sent you the contract and you sent me a thumbs up emoji. And then the person said, no, yes, you sent me a contract on as a SMS, but I sent you a thumbs up emoji to show you that I received it, not that I agree. They didn't agree, so the other person took him to court. And the court decided in the case in Saskatchewan just last year in Canada. And what the court said was that the thumbs up emoji is enough to be your signature in that context. So while this person said, I did a thumbs up to you to show that I have gotten the document to you. The court said, no, you can't say so because before now, he has sent you documents like this and you have sent thumbs up or you have just said okay and you have supplied. Now, this time around, he sent you the same document and you just sent a thumbs up emoji and you are now saying you are just saying you acknowledge receipt. The guy was liable for the contract because of a thumbs up emoji and was asked to pay compensation to the other person. So I am saying this, and that's why I decided to do this video. That some of us are thinking that emojis are different. No, no, no. Court have decided that today your emoji can be your signature because in a contract, anybody who has studied law of contracts knows that there are basic ingredients for contracts. One of the ingredients for contract is what you will use to show consent, right? There's an offer, there's an acceptance. What you will use to show acceptance before now, in the days of old, used to be your signature, right? And that is the court actually said that is a normal thing to show a commitment. He said, but the court now said no, based on existing law, one of which is the law called PIPEDA, is a law that they have a version in the US and they have a version in Canada. There are acts, there are electronic acts you can take that makes a contract binding on you. For example, the court said, listen, when you, for example, go online to book a ticket and they say, if you agree to the conditions, click here. The court said that is valid. You have given your consent, even though you did not sign. So the court now said, in this case, your thumbs up emoji that you sent to somebody is a formal acceptance of contract. So I am saying that for us to be aware of the emojis we send. Don't just say, I didn't agree, I only sent thumbs up to say I saw it. No, court said you have agreed. Somebody says he's going to do something that is wrong, and rather than you type and say, I do not agree, you send a smiley emoji, or you send a crying emoji, or you send a shocked emoji. If there is a court case and you are accused of being aware of that issue, you cannot use that to defend yourself. So this is my request. All of us who are older and those of us that are younger, let us go and study this emoji because there's an organization, a non-profit that approves this emoji, right? That does that every year. We now have over 3,000 emojis. So it may be nice for you to understand the most commonly used emojis. So that's my first advice. Let's learn what those emojis mean, right? So we can use the right one. I had a friend who said the mom sent a message to somebody that's totally misunderstood. Somebody died and sent an emoji that shows she was happy, but she felt that emoji was to show that she was sad. So let's know the interpretations and the meaning of this emoji. Number two, let's also be careful how frequently we use them because it can be misunderstood, right? Particularly when you are dealing across various generations, right? When you are dealing with various generations, their interpretation of your emojis is a function of their emoji, of their age. So, for example, you're dealing with a supplier or a boss who is older than you, and you send him so it tells you do something or I want to do something. You send him an emoji that somebody in your generation will understand. To me, let's talk more about it. It can just assume yes, you have agreed, or you ask a tailor, or you ask your mason or your carpenter or your cake designer to do something, and the person says, I hope I can go ahead. And you now replied with BRB, which means be right back. The person doesn't know what is BRB, right? So in that case, you may be signing a contract you are not aware of because you are just using emoji the way you like. So I want us to be very careful. The last thing I want to talk about is using emojis in the workplace. That's also something that we need to be very careful about because it can be subject to interpretation. I personally do not use emojis except I have a very good relationship with the person. So whether the person is my spouse or my children, because I realize that we interpret emojis differently. Like I told you in the case I mentioned, where this person sent an emoji that he meant I have seen it. The person that received the emoji says, what you sent to me means you have agreed. And the court agreed with that person. So we need to be careful with emojis. We need to tell our children this. We need to tell our spouses this, and everybody say, don't use emoji anyhow. Smiling emoji, love emoji. If you go to Microsoft Teams, for example, Microsoft Teams has an opportunity for you to actually modify an emoji, and that's a very dangerous part. So Somebody knows this is a smiley emoji. You go to Microsoft Teams and you are doing maybe a chat on Teams, and then you modify, I had something, and the person totally says it's something different in his own language. Or the person says that is what we are saying when that's not what you are not saying. Please, communication is already complicated enough. When we use word, we can be misunderstood. Like somebody asked me this week, what's the meaning of pele? And I remember the Yoruba proverb that pelela ko ulabo. So word itself has various interpretation. Now you don't now use words that is even more commonly accepted. You are using emoji that has various interpretation. You may be getting yourself into trouble because you may be agreeing to something that is illegal. You may be agreeing to something that is binding. You may be agreeing to something that can get you into trouble just because you sent out an emoji like a thumbs up, or you can annoy some people. So, for example, somebody older than you, or somebody more mature than you, or somebody superior to you sent you something, maybe sent you something, and he expects a response, then you just reply with the thumbs up, or you reply with the tongue, or the one I've seen that has caused many problems is the rolling eyes. That rolling eyes emoji. When people send that to you, what do you interpret it to be? What does the rolling eyes emoji mean? Or the rolling on the floor emoji? Or the laughing emoji? Or the blowing kisses emoji? You send it to somebody on a WhatsApp group, maybe your old student association, all of you have not seen in 20 years, and then you send the blowing kisses, and the person's husband is also saying it. Are you likely to be getting yourself into trouble? I just think we need to be careful. For me, I believe that emojis are cool and they are just fun ways to communicate. But I think we should be careful to on the way we use them, particularly in a formal setting, or particularly in a setting where it could likely be interpreted. If you can, use words and not just emojis. If you can, use clear words and not just emoji. Like I said, communication is complicated enough. We should not make it worse. Now, let me tell you one funny thing. The data I shared on my Facebook page earlier today shows that over 30% of young people, Gen Zs, break up romantic relationship because with emojis. So a guy and a lady are going out. The guy is no more interested, or the lady is no more interested. And rather than say, I'm no more interested, he sends her an emoji, or he sends him an emoji to tell you how people are using emojis today. The one that shocked me, and I was really shocked, is what I saw, that some young people now said if somebody sends them a proposal to date or to go out with emojis, they will likely accept than somebody that doesn't put emojis in it. Can you imagine that? So somebody gets a message from someone and say, can we go out for lunch or can we go out for dinner? And the only reason why this person will go out is because the person has an emoji in the message, to let us know that we are also dealing now with the problem of emoji bias, where people believe that because you are using emojis, you are nice, you are kind, you are gentle, or you are friendly, or you are fun to be with. And for those of you that don't use emoji, they believe that you are tough, or you are unkind, or you are wicked. That's the way people have now exaggerated the roles of emoji in communication. I like to request for us to be careful. In this world, communication has gotten us into all manner of troubles, all manner of challenges. And it's important for us to start to think about how we now replace words with signs, with things like that. So I want to thank you. I hope you enjoyed this. But please, before you go, can you just tell me once you got into trouble by using emoji? Did you ever get into trouble with the use of emoji? Or did somebody misunderstand an emoji you sent out? Or did somebody totally got annoyed with you because of the emoji you used to respond? I actually got expressed my displeasure with somebody recently about this, because I expected that I wrote something and I expected a response, a written response. I felt that was the right thing to do in that context. And the person just sent me an emoji, and I said, "No, I don't think it's acceptable for you to send an emoji, because I sat down, took time to send you these messages." I mean, so Yoruba people will say Soro ni gbese. So I typed words to you, and the words were in like 3 or 4 paragraphs. You can't send me an emoji in response. It doesn't look balanced in that communication. So you can type there. Have you ever gotten in trouble for using emoji, or have you misunderstood emoji, or Is there anybody that annoys you with the way they use emoji? Your kids, your spouse? Finally, are you annoying some people with your emoji? I got to realize this not too long ago. Do you know that there are some people that on Facebook, they don't read your Facebook comments? They use an e-reader, maybe because they are partially sighted or they have a challenge with their eyes. When they see emoji, it confuses them because the e-reader does not read it well. So as part of being trying to be inclusive, using emojis does not help us. So thank you very much. I hope you gained something from it. The whole essence is, as the world celebrates World Emojis Days, let us also be careful we don't get into trouble with the emojis we use. Thank you. Bye bye. Have a nice day till I come to discuss something again. Please let me know what you think about this. And I hope you find it very useful. It's me just trying to help us and sharing ideas. Please share your ideas with me too. Thank you and bye bye.